very good afternoon to you and welcome to Delhi in India for day 4 of competition of the Hero Hockey Junior World Cup. It's the final day of pool action for pools B and for pools D's, and we've got Australia against France. Well, this is how the pool table stands going into this final game in Pool B. Argentina, if you weren't with us just a moment ago, beat Spain by 1-0, so they finished third, Spain finished bottom. But this match is all about bragging rights. Who will finish top of Pool B and who will finish second? This pool has a crossover quarter-final with Pool A, so the teams in the reckoning there are Germany, Belgium and Pakistan, and that will work itself out tomorrow, but a tough call whichever way you finish in this one. So the teams being led out by the umpires, and when they all get there in line, we will of course have the national anthems of both countries, starting with that of Australia. Scored 7 goals in their first 2 matches, but Australia have conceded just the 2, France 5. And there was real delight on the French bench after the second game when they defeated Argentina by 3-2, because it represented a real breakthrough for French hockey and it meant they qualified with a game to spare. With that game being against Australia, it would have been a big ask coming into it, having to get something. And Argentina, well, they won their last game, so it would have been a difficult game. As for Australia, this is the lineup, this is the squad. Just the 1 penalty corner scored, that was by number 32, Jeremy Hayward, but Dan Beal, the captain, he really is the heartbeat. He's got a couple of goals to his name. The yellow cards got to number 2 and 26. There is head coach Paul Godoy. He'll be delighted with the way his side have started this competition, but for him, I guess this is where it really starts. As for France, well, Gaël Fouard has a starting lineup that you see on the left. The leading goal scorers, Peter Van Straten, number 4, and Simon Martin Brissac, both with 2 goals. Just Pontier, number 24, with a penalty corner. Only their penalty corner scored in this competition so far. And there is the head coach, Gaël Fouard. And, well, for him, he will now be planning whether it's against Germany, Belgium, or perhaps Pakistan. you won't mind. Our two umpires, firstly from Singapore, Lim Hong Jen, and he's assisted or working in tandem with Prasad Raghu of India. So the scene is set, the last match in Pool D about to get underway, and France start us off attacking the goal to our right-hand side with the navy blue shirts, white shorts, red socks. Australia in their green and gold strip. And alongside me in the commentary box, David Faulkner, 8 years high performance director for GB Hockey, and of course gold medal winning player as well. The Seoul Olympics in '88. David, good afternoon to you. And this is for bragging rights, this one, isn't it?
It is, and I think France have done amazingly well. And we've seen over the last 2 years at junior level, they had a fantastic performance in the European Cup, which mostly was helping them with their seeding here. And all credit to them, they've taken advantage of it with their wins against Argentina and Spain. With Australia, well, you know what you're going to get. A fantastic junior system, very athletic team, will play hard-paced hockey, and it'll be interesting to see how France deal with them today.
France have secured narrow victories, 4-3 over Spain and 3-2 over Argentina. Australia, well, it's been slightly easier for them, 5-2 against Argentina, helped by 3 goals in 3 minutes in that game, and then a rather more hard-fought 2-0 victory over Spain, a match in which Spanish number 4 Carlos Sanchez played exceptionally well, but a chance here for France perhaps, but nothing coming for Simon Martin Brissac, just beating for pace to the ball.
I think there's been a lot of talk in this tournament about Belgium's rise. I think France have got to stay on the radar as well within Europe. You know, Europe is getting more and more competitive. Yes, you've had the dominance of Germany and Holland, with England thereabouts with Spain, and Spain obviously having a few financial issues with government funding, which is most impacting their programme. But over the next few years, I'd just keep an eye on France. They don't have the same infrastructure as Holland or Belgium, but they're certainly looking at their own government system and putting in investment in the youth.
The French junior side lost the European junior final to Belgium. And there's a good little steal. Looking for support, there's none there, he's going to have to go alone. Diving tackle. Well, the umpire had his arm stretched out as if he was going to give the hit to France, but maybe his opposite number, his fellow umpire, deemed it a decent tackle.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think he signalled that was clean.
In which case, it was a super tackle.
Yeah, and you can see already one of the things which has always been typified in Australian hockey, they've always played with huge pace, but their back line, very athletic lads, but also very quick.
Well, here we go again. Dawson with the tackle on Van Straten. Australia trying to work it around the back. It's come up off the stick, play on the umpire into the centre of the circle. Really good defence by Baumgarten, but just the clearance was lifted, and Australia get the first penalty corner of the match.
Yeah, it was a great shame actually, because it was a great pick. You just watched when the ball came loose. He took the ball back, he looked to place it round and place it in there. He picked it excellently there, and just a bit of Russian blood to the head really.
So just the one penalty corner scored, as I mentioned, that by Jeremy Hayward. He's not on the park, but we're looking to Cameron Joyce, number 3, really. He's their main man, ably assisted by Matt Dawson as and when Joyce is not on the park. But Joyce is lining up at the top of the circle. Big lad, he really is exceptionally tall. And Edgar Reynaud in the French goal had a great game against Argentina. He's going to have something similar here. Well, I think he's beaten for pace. Unfortunately for him, Joyce has missed the target.
Yeah, I think his line was just outside that post. And as we've seen quite a few yesterday in just the game, just the amount of goals that were going in right-hand side, top right as you look at it. And I think that he was looking to do the same, Joyce. As you can see, it came to the left-hand castle. Yeah, and the ball really drifted across that post.
Keeper well beaten. postman was ready for it. But interestingly, France adopting a different defensive tactic to other teams against Australia, not running too down the barrel.
And again, you know, they'll have video footage and they'll look at what they can best way to deep. And I expect what they'll do is they'll throw one man high and they may defend a corner, like which is called a deep box, where they'll put the other three defenders around the goalkeeper and they're relying on the goalkeeper to pick off a save and then defend it from there.
Well, that can be a big arse when the ball's whistling in at fair old rate. But anyhow, they survive that little scare.
I think you're already seeing the pattern of play. France are playing deep and maybe relying on the counter, and Australia will most probably have some dominant possession here.
But it'll be interesting to see if this is the way to play, because in fact for the underdogs, if you like, on paper have done best when they played attacking hockey rather than sitting deep. I think of Canada against India especially.
Yeah, they may do. This is slightly different because France have already qualified for the quarter-final. Will they realistically get ahead of Australia? Well, let's wait and see, but the seeding will tell us not. And they're mostly looking at what they can get from the tournament.
Lovely ball by Beer, that's that right-hand side. Australia in around the back. There's a chance at the top of the circle, but it's been mishit by Casey Hammond. But the argument for that would be, if you've already qualified, you may as well just throw your kitchen sink at it, because if you think you're going to be beaten, you may as well have a go. Yeah,
and I think they will have a go because, well, look who these two sides are going to play. It's going to be Germany or Belgium. And who would they, least like to play? Well, at the moment, where those two level, I think Australia would prefer to play Belgium than Germany, in my view, because of the historic nature of those two sides. And I think that's where it may look. But I think France at the moment will have the knowledge of Belgium, how to play them. And most probably their preference anyway.
Well, at the moment, if Australia win the group, chances are they'll play Germany, ironically. So maybe this isn't one that each team wants to win, strangely.
No, and most probably for the first time for a long time, it will be the earliest in a tournament. Germany and Australia will play each other. In a knockout game.
Yeah. But Germany play Egypt first up tomorrow, then Belgium against Pakistan. But France having another little go. This is Lockwood. And they've got a penalty corner here. France.
And I think that's a good example of what I mean. You know, they've defended deep and they're looking for picking off that one off. And here, there's stick interference. I think there's deeming and has rightly given the corner.
Lockwood comes in and Jean-Baptiste Faure. Faure just pushed out the way by Beale. So at the top of the circle, Peter Deutz, number 17. Forward comes Florent Fenard. And it's Peters Deutz. He's lining this one up. And Lockwood is there as well. Lockwood number 10. He's the nearest of the two. Peters Deutz on the far side. But they're both coming off the same castle, which is made by Florent Fenard. And it's Lockwood, low and deflected behind for a long corner. Good work. I think it was Jeremy Hayward.
Like the French, I think the Aussies just did send one high, but it was the second. Yes, Hayward on that side.
Is that a foot?
Right, but I didn't see the French react to that anyway. No. You normally go with how they would react. Didn't get really much pace on that ball either.
That's a foot.
It's tight.
France trying to get him round the back, but it's cleared by Beale. And here you go, Australia. They're so dangerous on the attack. This is Wotherspoon on the counter, I should say. And Renaud was coming a long way out of goal to cut the ball out across the top of the circle.
And you really did see the pace of attack there, which the Australians will certainly have in depth in their group.
interception. This is Bell. Well taken in by Randawa. Hammond. That's a long forward.
France very deep once again.
Well, slips but finds the pass. Lockwood. Off the Australian stick of Kershaw.
As you can see on the sideline, both teams very early starting to rotate their group. We would have already seen nearly, well over 10 substitutions from both sides already.
It's a bit warmer today, isn't it? Than it has been.
Yeah, good 3-4 degrees warmer, and that'll sit in the stadium as well, and they'll feel that down on the ground.
Mobley. The line, and unlucky.
Australia really trying to release high what I call wing backs, half backs. So they're going for around the back, but what they're looking to do is release those two high guys on the right and the left, with France being so deep.
Really high press, and Australia win it. France in trouble. Oh, dearie me. Frank Main, with just the keeper to beat, can't hit the target.
I think Main, when he won it, you know, when he got it picked off the ball here, the ball most probably just got too close to his feet and he had it hit under the ball, if you understand what I mean. So it was just not quite a clean hit. Could have done with the ball just being a bit further out in front of him.
I think that also is shown in by the trajectory of the ball. It bobbled up, didn't it? It wasn't a skimmer along the surface. But France get away with that one, absolutely. See Paul Gadoin below us, couldn't believe that Main hadn't hit the target. Well, having had such success with the high press, Australia sticking with it, not surprisingly. And Peters Deutz. Well, look how high Australia are pressing.
Even to the point the centre forward was marking the fullback on the goal line.
Yeah. Quickly taken by Niels van Straten. His brother Peter is number 4.
And you certainly always know you're playing Australia because the intensity they play, certainly one-on-one, when you're on the ball, you do not have time on the ball ever with Australia.
But they're in round the back here. Simon Martin Brissac into the circle, ball across. Oh no! Well, Peter van Straten's gone to touch it, but behind him and all unmarked on the far post was Victor Charlet.
His hands up in the air. He saw the ball, got online with his stick, and it was taken from him.
In fact, it wasn't Charlet, excuse me, it was Pontier.
I'm sure there was a few French words to each other.
Nice spin in the centre of the park by Fogg onto the goal line, through the legs, but blue shirts further in. But real confidence, real positives for France.
And they seem very comfortable to sit back and then take those one-off opportunities they've had. And they've what now had 2 or 3, one resulting in a corner and one resulting to a very good chance.
Well, if Australia stopped playing, did they think it was their ball? Because France have walked right through them, but they've missed. Well, are Australia guilty of stopping play there?
I think both sides got distracted with the umpiring decision. They were all thinking, well, then you can see him staring at the umpire. And they played a great 1-2 here, and he missed the target again by inches.
That's Simon Martin Brissac, so both sides could have scored. But I think the first two were within 5 yards, weren't they? So they didn't engage with the ball, and that allowed Simon Martin Brissac the run through. He's still holding his head in his hands, by the way.
I think Gael Fullard will be quite pleased actually with the start that his side has made. You know, they've got two very important games out of the way in Nepal, and this is now where, with the testing side, where you know that every game now going through, where they know they're going to be in the top 8, all of them are going to be high quality hockey.
He's got to be careful there. Argy-bargy going on up in the French circle.
Yeah, I spotted it earlier in the half actually, and I think and the umpires kept an eye on it, a bit of handbags with each other.
Sledging in hockey as well then.
I'm sure the French can handle it.
Well, slide and a miss from Guillaume Doan, but it doesn't matter. It's over the back line for 16. Well, a loose touch from Noblet gives Lockwood possession. Lockwood making tracks, and all on mark in front of the goalkeeper was Pontier once again, and this time the touch deflects away from goal, but France have had the better of the opportunities here.
Yeah, and Pontier, when it came across, again, he'll maybe look into the skies again, but Lockwood did really well to accelerate away and place a lovely ball. I would suggest Pontier should have been lower there and had just used the pace of the ball, or even laid that off to the right-hand side.
Yeah, it was Jean-Laurent Kiffier who was there, but, well, 62-38. Well, I'll be interested to see this roll on, because I would say France had more circle penetration, surely more shots.
Yeah, and I think that comes back to what I was saying about they seem to be comfortable to sit back, and they know they've got the ability to counter.
Those shots, the shots on target. That's a really good touch and a good clearance. Back in it goes. It was Charlet with the first touch. And he's using his big wingspan to get the ball away, but Australia had the penalty corner.
Again, another example of getting the ball into the D earlier this tournament, and he just deflected that through onto the foot. Or actually, no, I think he blew that for the stick tackle, where he was trying to get the ball back off the back. Let's have a look at here. It's there, that's what he blew it for, the stick tackle coming in from behind.
The Aussie fans are happy. So,
double castle from Australia at the corner.
Yep, Joyce and Dawson at the top. Joyce still nearest to us. And it's Joyce again. Good running, good clearing. And France, if they play their cards right here, could have a good counter-attack. Oh, that was good tracking back from Joyce.
But again, France not just breaking from the corner, but every opportunity you can see they're looking to break. So here's the corner now. He ran that down really well. Maybe took his eye off the ball, was unfortunate with the stick. But if you just look again, the French, any opportunity, they're looking to counter straight away.
Charlotte, very big man to be running one.
That's most of the way he's doing it. I think it's quite an art and a skill running one now, because it's not just technique, but obviously obvious observation is bravery as well.
Bravery is one word for it. It's not much of a choice though, is there, defending short corners? You either stand on the line and get balls pinged at your head, or you're running down the barrel taking balls on the body.
We've decided to be a goalkeeper. course, there are those in the game who think that short corner shouldn't be in the game now. The way it's played with the no offside and the self-pass, they feel it should just be now an open game because the corners can be such a telling factor. Then there's the traditionalists who believe it's a point art of the game.
So a foot inside the circle would be a free hit outside?
Yep, straight off and play on.
You'd certainly get lower scoring matches, wouldn't you? France on the attack, France through again and wide again.
I think they want to have that left post moved. Again, won the ball really well here, through, good acceleration, exceptional play.
Baumgarten with it, and again, it's the speed of the taking of the free hit is catching Australia out, because the Australian, again, two Australian players too close to the ball to play it, allows the French player to walk through.
And for me, it's clear how the French coaches set them up, that yes, we'll play deep, but any opportunity, one, if we win it, we must get players ahead of the ball, and you can see that being played out now in this first 20 minutes.
It's been an enjoyable 20 minutes so far. I can't believe 20 minutes is gone, no goals, but plenty of goal-mouth action. French senior squad. Oh dear, that's a really poor pass. Fortunately, the keeper is equal to it. That was a dreadful pass. It can't have looked up.
No, but and now being punished with a green card, but also it's just the level of intensity that the Aussies, you know, they'll chase anything, they'll close down anything. He was a bit unfortunate.
Good clearance from the keeper, because he could have easily just swung wildly at it and lifted it into the on-rushing Ogilvie, but he kept his head, kept the ball down. That's a good piece of skill from Peter van Straten. There's Niels van Straten. Moves it out to Ogilvie, but keeps going, and wins possession back. Van Straten to his brother, wins the... gives away the free hit, excuse me.
I actually saw the Australians play earlier in the year in the Youth Olympics down in Australia in January, and certainly from what I've seen here, they're playing with a little bit more pace, and I know that they were reviewing a lot of their selections at that period, but for me what really stand out is they look a very athletic team, and they will continue to play at high pace all the time.
Hayward to Beale down this left-hand side for Australia. Beale into the circle on the reverse stick. Can he pull the wall back? Good keeping by Reynolds. A couple of times he was called upon, and he made the required saves.
He was really good on the floor there, making sure that the ball was pulled out from his body before the Australian could then lay it inside.
Bell under pressure now from Martin Brissac. A little clever ball underneath the shoulder one, another good tackle. And now France press again. It's out wide to the left-hand side. Can they find the ball in? That's going to be blown for height. Let's have a look. Well, there is Edgar Reynolds.
Yeah, so he entered into the left-hand side of the circle, but just watch here as the goalkeeper was really good with his glove, just keeping that ball out, because the Australians were very clear to try and pull that out, because they had two men behind him that could have placed the ball in the goal.
Player of the match against Argentina. And, doing his cause no harm in this first half here.
And I think it's fair to say the quality of goalkeeping here in this tournament has been pretty high, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, skipper's going to be in trouble here. There's another green card for Dan Beale. Fifth of the tournament for Australia, second in this game. France look to pressure.
And they're very happy to go and press the Australians press them.
It's that transition, isn't it, between sitting back and then suddenly stepping up onto the player.
And the comment I made earlier about keeping an eye on French hockey, you would have not seen this previously. They wouldn't have, for me, the players to do it, but more importantly, the tactical side to do it. And you're seeing a different French side here. And most probably, you know, over the last couple of years as their junior side have grown and they've kept this group together, you're starting to see that played out. And they are training together most days now with their new hockey school outside of Paris.
There's a stick in the face there. Let's have a look. Martin Brissat, not happy.
You okay? Okay?
To channel that anger. Muttering himself as he makes his way through the back stick.
On you. Hold on, boy. Hold on. Please.
That was Randwana not standing on the line.
And that is down to the umpire to call that. Because it's very clear what the rule says. You must be within 5 yards before the ball is played.
Aerial thrown by Joyce. It's missed. And France have to be careful here. Charlotte does well. Charlotte does very well. And then finds the support in the shape of Cristoforo Peter Deutz.
Really good shape from France, how they're playing and how they're outletting from it. It was very unlucky.
And Possel just getting the ball under control. Now 2 on none here for Australia. France have to get back quickly. They do, and it's high wide and not very handsome.
He picked the ball up really well here on his reverse stick. Couldn't quite get it across. He came back onto his backhand and just lifted way over the bar.
And Ogilvy, the player. Nowadays, it's little difference if it's on the strong side or the reverse stick. And a 3-on-2, if they play their cards right, they're in. The keeper's coming, the keeper makes it, and a great clearance.
Goalkeeper acting like a sweeper. He really read that very well, Renaud.
Thank you. Very good now. Thank you.
Here it comes again.
And you just see he just covered in from his defender and really picked the covering ball. I think Justin Douglas thought he was in there actually because he made the clear run behind there, and Renaud again. And we can see the role of a goalkeeper now, not just in terms of a shot stopper in the corners, but where the game is opened up, and again with no offside and with the self-pass, they play a crucial role as a sweeper as well as a goalkeeper.
So, 7 minutes remaining in this first half. Australia 0, France 0. Australia with the lion's share of possession, but France the lion's share of the better chances.
Thank you.
Ball from Beal over to that right-hand side. Now, can Bell get the ball across? Well, it's down to the line. Ndawa is in the corner. Guillaume Durand that's on from the bench.
Yep, thank you very much. That's good.
Lockwood as well. One of the players in the side actually that have represented the full national side, Victor Lockwood, was at the World Hockey League semi-final in Rotterdam. Ball comes in. And, comfortably cleared by Jeremy Hayward.
A few of the junior sides have got those international players, and as the tournament progresses, you would hope to think they're the ones who are going to have the influence in their side.
The other one's Hugo Geneste, Simon Martin Bressac. A couple of French players here. Just, a couple of years ago for the Olympic qualifier. France losing in the final to India on that occasion.
That was here as well.
That was the Sandeep Singh show. 8-1, I think it was, in the final, and he scored 6 penalty corners or something. Top scorer in the tournament with like 17 goals. It was ridiculous.
I would have thought, coming close to half-time now, of the two sides, I think the French will be happy how the half's gone. They seem very comfortable.
Not frightened to do that. Well, France getting more possession in the opponent's half. That was almost 1/3, 2/3 earlier. Australia, they had the more circle penetration shots. Well, 2-1. Those are shots on target. I would argue that France probably had more shots on and off target.
They've most remade more of their opportunities than Australia have at this stage of the game.
Can turn in a heartbeat. Half trapped, but it's well dealt with. Charlet not really offering much support to the ball carrier. And, well, France just have to put it out of play. Oh, good work. Real tenacity. And just sees the ball pushed away from him. Posselt. It's a long corner.
France getting frustrated because they wanted to take that quickly, and the umpires deemed that it wasn't in the right place.
Gilmore wanted to take it quickly. That stick past Martin Bressac. Good reverse ball. Australia threatening here with just under 3 minutes the first half left. Lots of pressure. Now they'll go all the way around the back, or at least that's the intention. Indeed they do. And Hayward's going to straighten things up. Douglas.
And once again, France were very patient, defended well. They made Australia go down one side and then come out around the other, and then waited for the error which they got.
Charlet to Peters Deutz. And Straten. Still going Van Straten. Uses out to Posselt, but has the sideline ball. Little look up. Good leave by Coulson. So he was obviously sure that the player behind him, who was Lockwood, was further forward.
Yeah, he was front marking, and he was covering the line between him and the player, and knew very much where the player was behind him.
Oh, pressure. But Posselt gets the ball away just in time. This ball back inside. This is Hammond. Hammond. Oh, what a touch that is. It's still an opportunity for Wotherspoon, but he's pulled it wide. Or was it saved?
Yeah, the umpire's signaling the goalkeeper got a foot to that. Again, showing real good closing down from the Australians and pulling that ball back. And as he gets it across, he's saying it hit his right kicker.
In which case, it's an excellent save, because there was very little space between Wotherspoon and the keeper. 1 minute to go. Australia looking to open the scoring. Back it comes. Can they get the shot away? This is Hammond. What a well-timed tackle that is by Peters Deutz. And France hanging on now.
Yeah, they are, but they're also defending really well, because any time they've been really tight on the defence. And the ball, if it's aerial, cannot cover the cross over the line of the D, and that's what Australia have just been penalised for.
Well, France throw it long and look to see out the final 20 seconds. So the three-quarter press being adopted. Stick a pass out, and that will be it. And that is the half-time hooter, and it's 35 minutes in which Gaël Foulard's side have done exceptionally well. They've absorbed a lot of Australian pressure, but have shown good intent in attack. And the keeper, Edgar Reynaud, has had a very, very good game, made some very sharp saves, and has kept his side in it. As for Australia, well, they survived some scares of their own, but they had some really good opportunities to take leads towards the end of the first 35 minutes, but the French goal stays intact. So as they head off for the dressing room, France will be the happier of the two. Australia looking threatening towards the end of that first half, but at half-time, the scoreline reads Australia 0, France 0. Welcome back, everybody. It's half-time in this final Pool B match, and Australia and France can't be split. It's Australia 0, France 0. But it has been an exciting first half with plenty of goal-mouth action. Australia started the stronger of the two, putting France on the back foot, and they had their chances. But either a combination of the inability to hit the target and good goalkeeping by that man there on your screen, Edgar Renard, kept them out. Down the other end, well, Australian goal led a charmed life. That was one of the best opportunities, and it was Pontier on the far post who couldn't believe his teammate had taken the touch. Now this was an interesting one, the quick take from the free hit, the 1-2, and just past the post. That was Simon Martin Brissac. And then a loose touch in midfield, and off they go again. This is Lockwood, a lovely looking run in, and that touch from Pontier, not his best, and the chance went a begging. And then towards the end, Australia had some really good opportunities. This one of the best, and a fine save by the keeper, Edgar Renard. And that some of the highlights, and here are the stats. No goals, as I've said. And although the shots read 2-1, there have been plenty more that have been off target. 10 circle penetrations for Australia, half as many for France, but France coming back into it at one stage, it was 2/3, 1/3 in Australia's favour, but now 55-45, and no penalty conversion from 3 in total, 2 for Australia, 1 for France. 2 green cards for Australia. Now, let's have a look at the pool. And as you can see, these two battling it out for top spot. A draw will stick Australia there, courtesy of their better goal difference. So France have to win if they want to finish top. Argentina are definitely third. Spain have definitely finished fourth. Don't forget, if you want to keep in contact us with social media, please do. Facebook.com/FI Hockey or Twitter @FIH_hockey, #HJWC. Now here is today's schedule here at the Hero Hockey Junior World Cup. Pool D is coming up next, and that is a vital, well, all those games are absolutely critical. David Fulton is still alongside me. England simply have to win against Malaysia, and they need 2 clear goals minimum.
Yeah, totally, and that must be their aim. They've had some fantastic games with Malaysia earlier in the year. They had a test series in England, which they won, and then narrowly lost in the game in the Johor Cup in September. So for them, it's making sure that it's at least a 2-goal win, and then relying on New Zealand then beating South Africa, not with a better score.
Well, they need to score basically a lot of goals, and then hope and New Zealand do them a favour. A draw from South Africa, well, then England will still squeak through if they win by 2 clear goals.
Correct, and that will be the only focus for them today. And I suppose what I think they'll be quite pleased about is they're playing against a team they know about. You know, I think if they were going against a team that they hadn't seen, which happens here, where a lot of teams are playing each other for the first time, they know what they're going to do, they know what they're playing against. It'll be interesting what Malaysia's approach to it being, knowing that they're already through and already top of the pool, so they know where they are, and it'll be interesting how they treat that game. I would hope and think they're playing for their country, and that won't change anything. But knowing that you're already through and top of the pool, so you know where your positioning is, may have an influence.
Well, the teams are back out on the park, and, well, Australia, perhaps they're happy with the way the first half ended.
Yeah, I would be, but I would say, I think the confidence in the French team has most recently been climbing because of the first 2 results they've had in the tournament, with their win against Spain and their win against Argentina. And you can see that, and they're confident in the way they're playing. They're happy to sit off, knowing that they have the ability to counter and get behind the Australians. But you cannot ignore the Australians and their style of hockey. High intensity, high pace, and they will take every opportunity to create a circle entry. And in any Australian match, you'll always see that stat as a high figure.
So the teams are out, they're ready, the umpires are ready, and it will be Australia that get this second half underway, attacking the goal away to our right-hand side. Australia 0, France 0. The winner of this match will finish top of Pool B, a draw, and then Australia will finish 1, France will finish number 2.
And you can see there, just as an example, France are quite happy to go and chase the ball and close that down and bring that level of intensity into the game, which the Australians always provide.
Shoulder in from Noblet. Charlet all the way across to defensive partner Peters Deutz, and Deutz gets it down the right flank. It's an Australia ball. Gilmore down the line. And Australia threatening Australia into the circle. Good work and a goal. And it's gone to number 6, Frank May. He missed the 1-on-1 in the first half, but he hasn't missed here.
The French were a little bit lax down the right-hand side there, and most probably didn't come in and cover their defensive quick enough. So as you see, the ball is down the line here. It throws it down, and the Chase takes that ball first time really well. And there was a bit static on the defending there. Rolled it round onto his right-hand side and finished well. And the goalkeeper couldn't really do much about that.
Gone for the far post, isn't he, just in case there's a deflection off the keeper or in case he's a little bit wide.
And then those who are observing, did you see the 2 Australians both on either post?
Trying to make the goal wider by offering the deflection. Well, that's Frank Mayne's second goal of the competition. And it gives Australia the lead in this match. Ogilvie. Nice ball in. Oh, the keeper's missed it. But so
I think Gilmore was the one that was on on the far post. But again, lovely bit of skill. But again, just to remind here, the ball goes in. But look where the 2 Aussies are, pinning those 2 posts again. And I think any team that's looking at that can say, you know, they know where they're positioned. So whenever they're at the top of the D and they're looking for that, feeding that ball, they know where 2 of the forwards are always going to set themselves.
Well, it was a really good opportunity. Mayne with a lovely piece of skill.
Yeah, he did well here to stay on the move as well and position the pass really well.
Wotherspoon with the ball across. Will Gilmore couldn't apply the finishing touch with Edgar Reynaud beaten. And France got to keep their focus here.
Yeah, Australia have really started the second half at high tempo.
Lockwood trying to get it out of that tight corner. There's the sideline ball. Aerial thrown. Straight out of play. There is the goal scorer, Frank Mayne. Let's have another look at his goal.
Turn to the right. A good finish. And remember I said to you in the first half, he didn't hit the ball under his feet. Well, sorry, he hit the ball under his feet. He got it further out, and that's why he got such a clean strike on it.
Good steal. Now, what can France do here? This is for, well, what a strike that was. And it's a decent save as well by Andrew Butterini.
I think everybody was expecting the cross, the backhand cross, and he actually most probably caught the goalkeeper unawares.
Butterini hasn't been called upon to make many saves because he's been beaten a couple of times, but the ball's also beaten the post. But makes a decent save there.
Daniel Beale did some really good work on the ball there and turning defence into attack. And here we are now. As he enters here, I think they were all expecting the cross, and because he just crossed into the D.
keeper was quite some distance from his post, wasn't he? He was almost embarrassed. He's probably quite relieved. Sampson to his skipper, Laurent, who gives the free hit away. Stick tackle from Hammond. Lockwood brings it away. Lockwood to Martin Brissac. Lockwood still going. Martin Brissac appeals. He gets the free hit, which he takes quickly. And again, the Australians had to back off because they're within 5. Again, more speed. And it's Randhawa trying to look like a high stick in there from Australia, but play on, say, the umpires. Devon fires it in. That's a really good, solid stick from Bell.
I think Brissac showed some great determination here. So he took it very quickly. He rode one tackle, recovered again, rode another, and kept going. I think, yeah, the stick was up high, but I don't think it was in any danger when the Australian stick went up.
Oh, it's beaten everybody down the right-hand line from Jeremy Hayward. Loose ball from Peters Deutz. Oh, good work from the keeper, Renaud.
I think he read that really well. As soon as he saw the man, and most goalkeepers, they'll use the 5-yard marker just there as a line for their positioning. When a player approaches that, then they'll go and they'll make a wide barrier on the floor for that, because anything high will most probably get blown.
Nice little touch around the corner from number 11 Baumgarten. Lockwood can't quite bring it under control. Deutz loses out in the midfield, and Australia spread it down this left-hand side, making tracks in the middle are Main and Douglas. Main goes across to pressure on the France clearance. Foulard smiling down on the French bench.
France remaining patient. You know, we know only 10 minutes gone in this half, but they can't afford to make errors like that.
Well, Douglas given possession on the 25. That's an important tackle from Baumgarten. Tries to release his forwards, but Beale's there. And they're flying in here, and the ball's fallen for France. And this is Van Straten. Van Straten up against Bell, wins the free hit. Turned around the corner by Beale. Which had already gone. Shaw back to Joyce. And Kershaw under a bit of pressure. Gets it away to Noblet. Noblet still going. Good work from Noblet. Has Ogilvie in support. Ogilvie plays it back inside. Here's the shot in from Douglas, still alive. And France get it clear through Ludovic Fourcroy.
That was really good work from Noblet there. He really created something from being closed down he was able to get and release the Australians down the right-hand side.
Here's Ogilvie. Ogilvie slips over on his knees, still does well, still going. Flynn Ogilvie wins the free hit. Let's have another look at this.
Yeah, as he carries there, he had a one there, just laid that through, and then he played a lovely pass down and picked up there the return. Sorry, he didn't pick that return, but he set up that momentum down the right side.
Randawa. Ogilvie again, there's space on the right, but he's not going there. Perhaps he should have done, because in the end Peters Deutz gets a stick on it to clear. And had it gone round the back, France would have been in a far trickier position. Douglas penalised for the tackle.
Brusak is complaining to the umpire that it's not the first time he's been taken out. He's mostly not played Australia very often.
Sees the ball taken away. France committing more men forward now, aren't they? And it's giving Australia more space in which to work. And there's acres of space on the middle of the park / left. And here they go. Just getting, oh, wow, caught up underneath his feet. It was Douglas who got the shot away.
Yeah, I think the ball, when that ball came through to him, it was just stuck under his feet. So as it placed here, his trap, I think the backspin of the ball didn't lay it properly, and he couldn't keep the ball flat, and he rushed then the reverse stick.
We've just left it behind his Martin Brussac. Van Straten wins the free hit. Hayward tries to take it too quickly. Is he 5? Yes, say the referees. Randawa steals possession back for the Boroughs. Here goes Douglas. Choice. All that does keep the ball alive, and it comes a bit high, yes.
France are staying in the game. I've been pretty impressed actually how competitive they've been, because most teams, when they play against Australian style and where it's very tight in the midfield, you know, they lose out physically and with the pace and speed. They've done a really good job so far, France, in staying with them.
Still got 21 minutes and change to go. Australia leading, courtesy of a Frank Main strike. 2 minutes after the restart. And Straten needs to go to the right here, I would suggest, but just takes it too far. Australia are now back goal side of the ball, and France have got to work their way through 9 players.
Yeah, and again, just the French showing some frustration here, because they didn't need to do that. As we see here, and I think the umpire determined that that was a little bit of a kick out.
Actually, the replay shows that his foot was pulled up by the stick, so perhaps a little unlucky. The 3rd green card of the competition for France. Still have the free hit. It's a nice ball now. Can Van Straten pick the pass? Well, that's really good defending from Hayward to get the stick in front of his foot. A shake of the head for Jean-Baptiste Faure.
To be a top international defender now, you've got to be able to tackle low, but also run low with the forward on the ball.
Well, it's going against a high stick, but the ball was lifted into the circle.
Yeah, but the umpire mostly deemed that that lift wasn't dangerous, and then he didn't need to play the ball above his shoulder.
from Australia. Ogilvie. Really good chance. Good work from France, but they've conceded the penalty corner.
And if you watch from this break, okay, so this is the actual corner one, but from previously to that, again, and just had a shot here, look how many Australians are in the D compared to the French, and they'd already populated here, so he knew where everyone was, and he was looking to get that ball back across that far post.
4 men in goal, none in blue. That's a concern for France. The third penalty corner of the match for the green and gold. Both coaches standing inside their technical areas. Right, here we go. Who's going to take this on? Joyce is to the left of the two, and it is Joyce who scores, fires it in low and hard, and Cameron Joyce makes it 2-0.
And the corner goes out to the left Castle, and he drives it straight through his legs. I think Renault would be disappointed with that. You know, fine if the striker had actually placed that in either post, but here this is straight down the middle.
Having done so much good work, the keeper often remembered for the one mistake. But Australia 2, France 0. France.
This game's just starting to open up.
I was going to say France getting tired and Australia getting more space. Gilmore unable to win possession. Quarter of the match to go. It's a good commitment when you're 2-0 up. Side Gracine. Forward comes Hammond. Hammond to Beer. Ogilvie. Looking for support. There's space on the left, but he's gone to the right and it's cut out. Ogilvie could pick up a card there. Indeed he does.
Yeah, accumulation of a few things actually.
Third green card of the match for Australia. Bell, more full length work. Wotherspoon can't get full purchase on the cross because he's at full tilt and at full stretch, but he's going to get another go here. Wotherspoon spins, now he's on the open stick side, plays it into the circle, and then Main can't keep it in play. That's Ogilvie.
And Bell just showing there, when you think the ball is dying or is out of play, he turned something that was a bit of a loose pass into a really good move for Australia.
France just picking out Australian sticks at the moment. And France get the feeling just have run out of gas, haven't they?
Yeah, they're just a little bit disorientated a little bit at the moment. They haven't kept together as a unit like they did so well in the first half.
And they're getting frustrated. We saw that a little earlier. Watford just sort of showed a disappointment at the breakdown of the attack. Butterini gets it. Scooping up the left-hand side. Not a great clearance, and France now get a chance. Can they make it count? No, they can't, because Matthew Dawson comes across with an excellent pick. It's a great big swathe down the middle of the park, which is not populated at all with players.
Because the Australians try and get their forwards up high, that's where the big gaps are now starting to appear.
Randawa. Posselt. 6 players into the ball for Australia now, just the 5.
I don't think Paul Godin would be too happy. I can see him remonstrating on the bench to some of the players now. Amount of turnovers they're beginning, because there was 3 or 4 occasions there where they've won the ball so well and they just turned it back over to the French.
Need to be a bit more patient, don't they, Australia? Oh dear. They're not chasing the game. They're leading 2-0. There's 13 and a half minutes left. There's the rotation.
Yeah, and you know, this is a different philosophy. You know, you hear some people saying, why wasn't he on the last 5 minutes when the game was like this? Whereas the Australians, it's very clear minutes, what their roles are, where they're going to play, where their rotations are going to be. Because they believe that actually keep the energy levels high, that you get then the stats coming through about how many times you enter the circle, and they will convert to shots and goals. Baumgarten not happy with the challenge. Ball back too close to the keeper. Butterini makes the save. Same word with the captain, Devon. Again, I can only call what I see, I guess is what he's saying, the umpire. Doesn't need the added help. Bourgoin is lifting his hands, he's shrugging his shoulders. Happiest at the moment. Sideline ball. Some of his frustration, yes, will be the umpires. I think he's just slightly frustrated in the last 5 minutes of Australians play.
And they're going to change the keepers. So Ed Chittleborough comes on. And Angie Butterini comes off. So first action for Ed Chittleborough.
And whilst you may not ever see that in a senior tournament, I actually think this is quite important in a junior tournament to bring a goalkeeper in here and make sure he's got that experience.
Cross up, rolls it forward. Douglas, who can't keep it in.
But France got away with a quick free hit then, and then give the ball over to the sideline.
Ball, and it's gone a little flat for France. Look at match stats. Dominating possession, and now I would expect to see domination throughout. Yeah, 16-9 circle penetrations, and again shots 6-2.
Yeah, but we haven't seen too much shots in the second half from the French. You know, the work they did so well in the first half with their counter-attack We've not seen much of that, if at all, in the second half.
Well, France are going to go into the first quarter-final, which is at 1:15 local time on this pitch against the first team in Pool A. That's on Thursday, so they're going to have a couple of days off. Near enough, a couple of days. Australia, first in Pool B. Well, they've got an evening quarter-final at 5:45 against the second-place team in Pool A. The keeper's played it and then has to react quickly. Didn't need to.
I think he was unsure whether, when that ball was struck into the D, he was unsure whether it had clipped a stick. Well, as you can see, that comes in. It came through these two guys here. He played it because he must have assumed there was a touch there. Recovered well. But his back kicker, I think, as we see as
Cowley
comes in.
Yeah.
That might be soft foam, but I don't think that's going to be a soft hit.
He's okay though. Ball across from Douglas, goes all the way across. Cameron Joyce scored the second goal, the second penalty corner. So Australia have put in the net, and France are going to change their goalkeeper as well. Corentin Saunier is going to come on. Keeper is off, so on comes Frederic Soyer, off goes Edgar Reynaud. Good game from Reynaud.
Both teams have the opportunity to do this, because obviously they've both qualified for the quarter-finals, and so this opportunity may not come again for them in the tournament.
Quickly. Samson can't keep it in.
Huge pressure from the Australians, and they really pushed up their three midfield and three forwards there.
Frederic Soyer, the senior men's coach, is doing his absolute nut down on the French bench. Shaking his head, jumping up and down, and we have a yellow card to Cameron Joyce.
Umpire determining that he went through the man to get the ball rather than trying to win the ball.
And now it's Paul Godoy's turn not to be very happy.
And well, he took the ball first inside there, but then his stick took the Frenchman's legs.
Yeah, it is.
Excuse the pun there.
It is Cameron Joyce who's picked up the yellow card, not Robert Bell. Fired in. Oh, dearie me! And France have got their attackers in round the back and were unmarked. Into the final 7 and a bit minutes. Australia beat Spain 2-0. 2-0 up against France, beat Argentina 5 goals to 2. A pretty tight defence. Tightest defence in the competition, Australia. that's a good foundation to build on.
And you can see on their performance today, you can see why, because just their ability to close down on the move and doing what we call double team. So if there's one covering, another will come in. And if you can just look at their low body position every time they're closing down.
France maybe get away with that because the French player, Sampson, was standing almost next door to Fournier. I would argue actually that Australia weren't 5 as well, so
most of the umpire made the best decision just to reset it.
Sampson, chance, half a shot, goes up in the air, play on, says the umpire limb. Aerial throw, and Peters Deutsch is going to have to be sharp here up against Wotherspoon, and he does well, uses his body well.
The Australians are quite happy just to have 2 men in that corner with the French 5, just to then to look to release to get it across the D.
Long corner. Which Cowley will go across and take. Good shape from Australia. Transferring the ball from left to right. Sideline ball, which Australia will have. Both sides got new keepers. Neither of them touched the ball in anger yet. Hill waits for Kershaw to take up his position, then we'll free hit to Fontier. Hill has a lick up. Hayward's free, he fancies. Goes for Kershaw. Bell. Zara time down the park.
Paul Godin wasn't happy with that at all. You know, I think the standards the Australians set themselves, they want to keep the quality up all the way around the field. It's not like them to slow the game down, they want to keep the intensity in high all the way through every minute of the game.
Yeah, well, they've had yellows in previous matches, most notably against Spain. They were still pushing forward, looking to score goals. Now with Cameron Joyce off the park, he'll be returning to the fray pretty shortly. In fact, he should be returning any time around now. Fired in at 16. Well, he hasn't returned to the fray, but Australia are back up to 11.
And in their substitution plan, they'll also have strategies around if they've received green or yellow cards, what will happen around the substitution.
Final 2.5 minutes, Australia 2, France 0. Australia looking to get round the back again with Gilmore. Long aerial, just about brought down. Australia on the front foot again. It was Dawson who brought it down. It's Hayward. Gilmore. The free hit, takes it quickly. Gilmore, lovely skill. Gilmore to the circle edge. Here it is, Ogilvie. Good save by Saunier.
Sonia did well then because he stayed upright. He didn't throw his body at the ball, and he just made sure he was a quick barrier for the strike at goal.
Really decent save from the replacement goalkeeper.
Gilmore got this all really going well, eliminated well, got that ball across, and Ogilvie was closed down immediately. And look again, the two Australians on the post. Paul Godin must probably be the most disappointed one from that, knowing that the forwards, they know where they set themselves with the positions.
Maybe with only, well, less than 2 minutes to go and 2-0 up, he thought, I fancy a goal rather than letting one of his teammates stick the ball in the net. But Sonia couldn't have done anything about it had he passed it wide of him. Just sums up the last 10 minutes for guys tired.
Yeah, you know, it has been a game of two halves for France, because in the first half you saw a clear ability to play deep defence and then go with, as I stop here from those, and they've won the corner. But I think because, and that corner is a good example where they've just been pushed back, whether they go to a video referral or not, they've just been pushed back as the half has gone on.
Well, there goes the full-time hooter. We're going upstairs. It's academic, really. Quarantine Sonia. Come on, bring it on. I fancy some action. Only been on 9 minutes.
This might be his minute of glory.
This is it.
Not by the foot. Can you please check for me?
Okay,
checking to see if it was a stick or a foot.
Yep. For a foot.
He carries well into the D.
Stick. No, well, it's stick all the way, isn't it? So I would say that's the end of the match. Australia, I think, are hopeful it's a penalty, or no, they realise now that it's the stick. They're shaking hands on the top of the circle.
Can you hear me? Yes, please.
Here we go.
I have a decision for you. It was a stick. Decision is a long corner. France to keep their referral. Thank you.
So Bruce Bale says it's a long corner, but it's the end of the match anyway, so it's academic. And Australia have won it, and they will top Pool B and go into quarter-final 3 at 5:45 on Thursday. France, well, they have finished second. They're in quarter-final 1 at 1:15 on Thursday. Both sides will play teams from Pool A, which will conclude tomorrow, so we'll know that final quarter-final lineup then. But your take on that game?
Well, as I say, in the first half, I think the French played really well. You can see why they've won their first 2 games. They competed well, relied on the counter-attack, and if we saw from the stats, they had many a shot. But I think we just saw the Australian style dominate the game, and for me, they'll be a key dominant side going into the quarterfinals.
Well, Australia then, winners of the final Pool B match against France. The final score here reads Australia 2, France 0. So Australia will have 2.5 days to prepare for their quarter-final, and well, it could well be against Germany, and what a clash that would be. Let's have a look at the highlights from this second half, and well, it was pretty much all Australia in the second 35 minutes. The opening goal from Frank Main, he missed one of these in the first half, as David Faulkner pointed out, because the ball was a little bit underneath his feet and he was coming down on top of the ball. But here, you'll see the ball's nicely out in front of him. And as he cuts back inside, he fires it through the legs of Edgar Reynaud. No real chance for the French goalkeeper, who had a good game, by the way. And then, again, good work by Maine. Popped across the goal by Douglas, and Gilmore couldn't apply the finishing touch. But Cameron Joyce, their short corner specialist, came up with his first conversion in this tournament. Really hard and low, but between the keeper's legs. And that was the end of the highlights and the end of the scoring. Let's have a look at the match stats. 2-0 to France, 7 shots, 2-0 to Australia, sorry, 7 shots to 2, more circle penetrations, more possession, and the 1 conversion from 3 penalty corners. France had 1 penalty corner, but couldn't find a way past either Ed Chittleborough or Andrew Butterini. Both sides played their reserve goalkeepers. So the stats reflecting the match pretty much. Australia dominating in all facets of the game and worthy winners of Pool B. Right, well, it's time for the post-match ceremony. Let's join the bandstand, who's pitch side.
Yes, Charlie, indeed dominant in every sense of the word. Australia with their 3rd successive win, also topping Pool B in this Hero Junior Hockey World Cup. Now, joining me alongside me for the post-match ceremony is Mr. Saif Ahmed, who's executive board member of the FIH, and he'll present the Hero Man of the Match trophy to the very deserving Frank Maine of Australia.
Thank you. Cheers.
Frank, good performance, and just like in the previous games, when somebody else doesn't score, you put your hand up today.
Yeah, well, we just put in as a team today. It was a bit of a grind, but it's good to get the result in the end.
2 games in succession where you've also had a clean sheet, so in ticking all the right boxes?
Yeah, ticking all the right boxes. We've put in all the hard work off the field, and the results take care of themselves on the field.
Before you boarded the flight to Delhi, what was the realistic aim? What is the minimum that you want to settle for at this Junior Hockey World Cup?
Gold. We're here to win.
And a couple of days off, what will the preparation be for the quarterfinals?
Preparation, we've got 2 days off. We're just going to do all the right things, ice baths, eating correctly, everything that'll put in there, make it easier for us in the quarters.
Just one final question, one final thought from you. Who do you think it's going to be your opponent? It could be Belgium, it could be Pakistan, it could be even Germany.
Well, we'll just see. We'll see who it is. I mean, they're all quality opponents, so hopefully we can just play our best and everything will take care of itself in the end. Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your stay in Delhi as well, and I hope you do really well in this FIH Junior Hockey World Cup.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, congratulations to Frank Maine. And here are the final Pool B standings. Australia, look at that, +7, 9 goals, only 2 conceded. France in 2nd place. The 2 wins against Argentina and Spain. And they will play the first side in Pool B. Australia, as I say, the 2nd team in Pool A. Argentina, well, they got their first win a little earlier on with a 1-0 win over Spain. They have finished 3rd, and they will play the side that is ranked 3rd in Pool C, funnily enough. So that's where we stand today. Today's schedule: Argentina 1, Spain 0 in our first game, Australia 2, France 0 in our second. Next up in Pool D, it's England against Malaysia. That is a game England simply have to win, and they have to win it well. They need to score at least 2 goals, preferably more from an England standpoint, because South Africa against New Zealand, that's the other key one. A win for South Africa, and it's irrelevant what England do. South Africa will qualify 2nd in Pool D. New Zealand, well, they need to win as well and need to win well. So it's all set up very, very nicely in our last 2 matches of day 4 here at this Hero Hockey Junior World Cup. But for Pool B, it's all done and dusted. Australia are top. They've beaten France by 2 goals to 0.